So it's interesting what that lady was saying, how she was talking to a therapist, how we look at it as our mothers as godlike figures, where we won't even say nothing bad or they done nothing wrong, even though they may have done something wrong. We won't speak ill of our mothers. So I know my experience is. I remember when I was younger, my mother used to talk bad about my father, and it taught me the lesson that I would never do that with my kids. You know, even if we don't work out or make it, I'm not going to speak bad about their mothers in front of them or nothing like that. But she used to do it all the time, now granted, I give her credit. Half the shit she was saying was true, but as a kid, I didn't know this, and I grew to have resentment towards my mother because she said it, and to me it looked like, are you just jealous because he'd have moved on and got him a new wife, he'd have married and got a bigger house and doing better and different things than what you used to do, and that's how I looked at it. And I just would just zone her out. I said, Mom, I don't even want to hear what you got to say no more because you're just jealous. Now, when when there was times where he didn't come through, yeah, that pissed me off, and she was right. She said, well, he moved on with his new family. He ain't thinking about you no more. And I would go wait at the couch. I'll wait on the porch. I'll look at him out the window, wait for him to come get it. He wouldn't come get us, me and my brother. But please believe he would drop that check off every week. He get that child support check. He wouldn't miss that. But as far as him coming through, nah, he didn't. So, I didn't like it that she was right half the time, but at the time I just didn't understand it. It wasn't until later on, damn, she's pissed off. Now I gotta apologize to her because I accused her of being jealous and mean and keeping me away from my father, and that wasn't even the case. He just wasn't doing what he was. He didn't do what he should do as a father. Now, as a, I don't know, I can't relate like y'all ladies said about mothers and women. I don't know about that part, but I had it with my father for sure, because I had to learn to forgive him, and I had to go to therapy for a couple of years to even be open up enough to forgive him, because I didn't want my his grandkids, which is my kids, to not get the opportunity to get to know him, and so I had to forgive him, and I had to come to Jesus, and I said, don't hurt my kid. Well, at the time, my daughter was the only one around before my son. I said, don't do my daughter the same way you did me. Don't sit there and tell them lies and tell them you're gonna come and don't show up. If you're gonna do it, tell me. And then if you don't show up, she never knew you wasn't supposed to come and get her, so don't do it. And it was tough, and it kind of had flashbacks of seeing me in that situation. I guess was me really expressing myself to him, but saying it for my daughter. So,
I appreciate that, Hank.
mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. Anybody want to add anything? I got another clip I'm gonna play. Anybody want to add anything real quick?
I'll add to Hank. I will say that to get over it, or to get through that, or to love them through that, I went to therapy. So therapy helps you see things a different way. And then, like Jay was saying, empathy. I had to come to the part where, yeah, I had to like not so much feel sorry for my mom, but just realize, like, like it is what it is. Like, she's never going to change. She's never going to see it my way. She's never going to understand it my way. And my thing is, you can't argue with stupid. Or this is stupid. Like, just like she's 70 years old, Chanel. So, you know, therapy and having empathy is definitely what helped me get through it with my mom. And just that's her experience, and she's never gonna understand my experience, and just leave it at that. But you're right, like you'll never be able to move forward if you keep holding on to it. And I had to go to therapy to realize, like, I didn't even really think it was something I was holding on to since I was a kid. I just thought it was a point of view that she's just not even, as an adult now, that she doesn't understand that I'm a different woman than she is because I was raised differently. But, it was always an excuse. Like he said, one time my mom used to whoop our ass. But, when my sister had my nephew, she didn't believe in whooping at all. And, my sister popped him on the back or whatever it was. It was just, I used to be like, you used to whoop our ass. And she would swear up and down she didn't. And they would get on my nerves so bad. And it took me till I got into my 30s to like realize like this, all right, she just thinks she didn't do it, so whatever. So therapy and empathy is definitely what I would say is the best way to look at it to move on.
I like that. I think one of the things people got to keep in mind too is that you can't change people. It's not even grown folks. Sometimes you can have children maybe stuck in their ways as well. But what I do think people need to do, and Jay made an excellent suggestion. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it's pretty tough for somebody to have a conversation with somebody that they're really not too fond of in that moment, or may not have been fond with for a while. So I suggested an email, which is similar to that letter, to be able to write that, because I think you should be able to express yourself, but at least you don't have to worry about like the confrontation or that battle moment. You know, whether it be once a month, you just write them or you send them an email and say, "This is how I feel." Now, how you construct that email is very important. You want to make sure that you put it in a way where you're just expressing yourself. It's not coming off as an attack. So that implies that you need to apply more logic than emotion when you're putting it together, because the only thing it is that you just want to let that person know how you feel, because we all human and we do have feelings. And I think it's important for you to be able to express whatever it is that's on your chest, but make sure that you're not creating it in a situation where it's based out of conflict. One of the things that I had to do, and I didn't go through no therapy. I did contact Nelson, which is a licensed therapist. He said he's doing some sessions now, but he may be listening to the conversation and call in. But we had this discussion, and not everybody is able to do it. But I just understand how people operate and how people move. You know, people just gonna people. Life just gonna life. I like to simplify people and life. And I accept that's the hardest part, is just accepting that person to be whoever they may be, and knowing how to separate who that person is, how did they come about being that person, and being able just to love them just for the simple fact that they are your mother, or they are your father, or they are your child. It takes a sacrifice. It's lonely at the top. Not everybody is able to think outside the box, to navigate the world in a different frequency. And in order for you to be able to do that, you're going to have to be self aware, not only of yourself, but situations and how everything is working. You can think the way you want to think and feel the way you want to feel. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to convert into some result that you're looking for. So you have to be willing to just digest whatever it is and deal with it. So, like, I'm able to love my mother and be close just enough, and also understand them like my threshold. She can say whatever it is she gonna say and do whatever it is she gonna do. Like, my mother was an alcoholic, so I had to be a man a little bit earlier within my time. One of the things that happened was that my mom and my sister and I had a conversation, and I done some things to my sister that I have no clue or don't even remember that I was doing. And so that's that information that you got to be able to to listen or be in the position. Because I think Jay brought it up. Like, I had no idea that this happened. I don't recall it. But did it happen? It possibly could have happened. But it's going to take a lot for you to be able to accept that it's a possibility that you did something. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they attacked the situation with conflict, with pettiness. And one of the things that I said was that you need to go back and apologize, because you are one of those people that are not able, that operate, that most people can't. A lot of people operate in fear. A lot of people don't know that they don't want to take risks. And so when you able to get to a point where you able to apologize for doing something wrong, you are in elite status. Like, you are superb. You are up here, because most people can't do that. Most people can't do it at all. Um, so I really said that all to say is you can't change folks. I'm not trying to change my mother. That's not my thing. My thing is that life is too short, because people are falling off the earth quicker than then I'm pretty sure somebody had a death, or either know of a death, or somebody that you didn't expect not to see. And so it's about enjoying them while they're here, trying to build off the relationship. And it doesn't mean you have to accept crap. Understand your threshold, separate yourself when you need to be, but don't add to it. It takes two fools to argue, two fools to tangle. So if you be the bigger person in that moment, It doesn't matter what they, and I know it's easy said than done. It's going to take some time for you to condition yourself to be able to operate like that. But if it makes logical sense to you, just be the person.